Okay, this is for the truly die-hard, insane person that wants to modulate using dual source morphing inputs. If you've made it this far in the tutorial, you deserve this. Okay, so this is an example of application in a finished patch called dual morphology using the dual source input. But what I'd like to do is break this down into a really simple example to give you the idea of how to use the morphing source mod source. So we have a default sound here. Assign the morphing source to what you want it to finally hit as the final target, which in our case, for clarity's sake, we'll do pitch coarse. And I'll hit this with full range depth. And then we need to assign the inputs with the two things we want as our input A and input B. So for input A, I want a mod envelope. And for input B, why don't we go ahead and use a LFO. And I need to assign the mod envelope to the target morphing modulation input A. And then for the LFO, I want that to be morphing modulation input B. So once again, mod envelope 1 goes to input A, LFO 1 goes to input B, and that entire sum of those two sources goes to pitch coarse. But the really cool thing now is that I can use a third source, let's say mod wheel, to control the morphing crossfade, morphing input AB crossfade. So let's assign maximum depth for the wheel. So the first thing we're listening to is the LFO. And then if we go to the other input and listen to that, that would be the mod envelope. It will sound like this. So at minimum mod wheel, we hear this. At maximum mod wheel, we hear this. And as I glide it in between, you'll hear all the iterations as it crossfades. Which is just awesome because then you can see how you can get all those shapes in between the two sources that you normally couldn't get. So that's the basic idea of morphing source.